Hello again, everybody, and welcome back. In this next video, I'm going to show you how to construct the two other pages for your FM 109 final projects. The research page, which will contain blog entries with your line sheet assignments, and your references page, which will contain all of the sources for your group final project in APA format. Before we get started today, I wanted to go over a couple of things from the last video that I thought should just be quickly clarified before we move on to constructing these new pages. The first thing I want to go over is inviting your site collaborators again. So if we recall from the last video, to invite collaborators, we go to our site and then we navigate to My Dashboard. Okay, now from our dashboard, to enter our site collaborators' emails, we go to Site Actions, and then we select to invite people. So up to now, this is pretty easy, where you go in and you enter your group members' emails and no problems there. But when we add them, you might have seen that we were then prompted to select a role for our group members. So in the resources for this final project that Wix has provided your instructors, we have some help articles on managing roles. Basically what this just means is that you need to tell Wix what responsibilities you want your group members to have, right? So, for instance, you could make your group collaborators co-owners, and that means that they have full access to the site, same as anything else. They just can't delete or transfer. Website managers also have pretty much full access. Again, just some limitations in terms of deleting and duplicating or transferring the site. What I would recommend is that you assign all of your group members the co-owner role or the website manager role. And this way, everybody just has the most full access. Why this exists, in case anybody wonders, is when companies, have to manage their own websites, or you have an entire team working to manage an online store or something, you have these general roles so that you don't have everybody messing with the site at the same time, right? But in this way, if you make your your group members, co-owners or website managers, you should be just fine. All right, so I think that was the main thing I wanted us to go over today. And of course, why don't we just take a minute to remind ourselves what we accomplished last time. So we picked our template and then we fully customized our template. We got rid of pretty much everything that existed in the template version of the home page. We've added this menu here. We also have a nice little bit of text here, and if we wanted to turn this into, say, a link that leads us back to the home page, which is never a bad idea, we could go ahead and give it a link, page, and then we could choose to have it come back to this page. So a fun little feature that also enables more accessible navigation. And then if we scroll, we'll see that we have a great first section with our title and a good button that'll take us to our blogs. We have an overview of the project, again, succinctly describing some nice media, our annual sales data with our button option for displaying the data. And don't forget, in the last video, it shows you how to go about displaying your Google Drive material if you want to do it that way. And then we have our About Team section with our options for linking to our LinkedIn page. Okay, everybody. So now I want us to navigate to our research page. So here we are in our blog page, where if we scroll, we see that we have a couple of different posts here. So to edit this page, of course, what we want to do is go in and get rid of all these old posts and upload our own posts. So to do that, there's a couple different ways to get there. You can, from here, select to manage posts, or if you're working over here on the left-hand menu, you can then select to manage posts from here, or to just create a completely new post. So why don't we go ahead and select manage posts. And now we're here in our blog area of our dashboard where we have, an overview. Wix is giving us some suggestions for what we should do first. So what I want us to do is go to where here we see all of the posts that are just, sample posts. They don't really have anything in them. They have some suggestions for design. What I want us to do is go ahead and delete all of these with the exception of the first one. Okay, one more. Awesome. And now we are ready to get going. So you'll also, if you scroll down, you'll see you could start a post that has a template, which is a great way to give your post some structure if you wanted it to have like a certain look to it. So explore these templates, when you get to the point where you're ready to upload your line sheet assignments. But for today, we're just going to go ahead and edit this existing post. And if we also wanted to, we could go ahead and create a completely new post by just clicking here. And you'll see it's totally blank. And so you could add a title such as okay, so say one of your group members is ready to, go. They could begin their blog post this way. So what we can do, actually, it's on autosave, so it's fine. We're going to actually go back. We'll just leave that post for now. And we have just the one, so we're going to edit it. All right, so let's give it a title. Melanie Lowe's brand research. And then you'll see that if we scroll down, the post has just a really huge image and then some, just information for us and a link. Let's just go ahead and delete everything that we see. If I wanted to, I could start my post with a nice little bit of media to kind of, again, engage my reader. So if I wanted, I can go to my image tab over here. You'll notice, guys, very quickly, just to point out, that to add things to your blog post, you can click this add button, or you can use this add button over here. And then you have the option to add media, so an image, a gallery, a video, a GIF even, or a file that then just uploads a link to the file that you can download. There's also some elements over here that allow us to add structure to our blog. We're going to be working a lot with the table today, so just keep that in mind. And then finally, some other ways to add other material, HTML code if you want it to be really customized, etc. All right, so like I said, I want to add just like a nice image to introduce my reader to my project. So again, I have all this great imagery here. I'm going to add this one. You don't have to do this. Again, this can be something that you do, that you just keep your line sheet assignment in here. You don't have very much else. This image is very big, so I'm going to kind of just resize it a bit. Okay, excellent. Then if I wanted, I could add a little bit of introductory text. We're creating this blog post within the environment of our class, but say you decide to include your project, this website, in your portfolio, you might want to explain what your line sheet assignment is about. So you'd want to kind of quickly give any reader a short explanation. A line sheet is ... I chose to examine the Express brand's new conscious edit denim, ... You get the idea. Just kind of a short, maybe sentence or two that explains what it is that a reader is looking at and what the context is. What's the story behind this project, right? Again, just to make sure that we're giving the full scope of information. Okay, now we need to actually get our line sheet into this blog post. So very quickly, let's take a look at a sample line sheet and line list that was provided by one of your very generous classmates. So this line sheet is examining American Eagle. And what we see here is that, using the Excel spreadsheet, we have cells with data and information and cells with images. So what I need to figure out how to do is I can't just copy and paste this into Wix. Like, I can try it and just show you what happens. So I might think, all right, no, I can just, copy and then come on in here. Yeah, that doesn't, that is not what we want. It's just taking the text. So we have to do a little bit of designing, a little bit of work, but that's okay. So what I have done is from my line sheet, I have saved all of my images as image files in a folder. And so what I can now do is upload my little image files into my Wix Media Library. Then I'll have them at my disposal. I'll create my own table that's kind of mirroring how to display this information. And then we can copy and paste our data from our spreadsheet here into the table in our blog. So let's go back to our website. And now from my add panel, I'm going to add a table. And so if we go back and look at, if we go back and look at our Excel sheet, let's see here. So we'll see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of information here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of information here. So we'll go in, we'll elect to create a table. How many columns? I believe we said 5. How many rows? 6. And we'll select to create our table. And here it is. It looks very simple, right? Really, just kind of simple design. So let's also take a minute to add some of this introductory information that was at the top of our spreadsheet. So if I go back to my line sheet, go to the top here, I want to tell them what brand this is, and then also, of course, include this information here. So back to my website. To make this stand out, I want this to be a heading. So I'm going to go and highlight it all. Go up here to my text, and I'll select heading 2. That looks pretty good to me. I can bold it or italicize it if I want to. I'll go ahead and bold it for now. Enter. I'm going to now change this back to paragraph, and going back to my line sheet, I want to make sure I copy and paste all of this information. Okay. Okay, category and classification. Excellent. So I'll go ahead and get this information in there. Okay, great. Now let's take a minute to upload my image files, which, if you remember, I did from the spreadsheet. So what I did was I took my images and I selected to save as picture. And then that way I can give them a name and save them to a file on my computer so they're ready to be uploaded to Wix. Heading back to my blog editor, I'll go to Add Image. Now I'm going to select to upload media. So I'll go and find my files, which are here. And I will upload those into my Wix Media Library. And here they are. Excellent. So now if I want to add the image to the page, if I click Add to Page here, well, it just puts a giant image there, right? But it's not in my table. So let's delete this. Oops, fix that. Okay, to actually get my images into my table, I have to do something a little specific, but once you see it, you'll be able to just repeat the process. So if I double click on my cell here, an add button appears, a very small blue add button. If I click on it, it now gives me the option to upload really any type of media I might want into the cell within the table itself. So I'm going to select to add an image. And I want to add my vest because that was the first one in my line sheet. So I will add it to my page. And now it has added itself to this cell and formatted so that it's the best fit. You can either select to do a small or best or full width, but this looks really good to me. So then if we click away, there it is. That looks great. So let's go ahead and repeat this process for each cell, just so that we know. We double click, we go to our images, and then we select our next product. We'll add to page. There it is in the cell, looks so good. Go again. Awesome. Next item from our line sheet. Last one. Wonderful. So really, everybody, this is kind of the most difficult part of constructing your line sheet on the Wix blog, is getting the images into the table itself in this way. So now it's just a matter of going to your line sheet and making sure that you are importing, copy and pasting the data from the line sheet into this version of your line sheet here, okay? So for instance, this cell has a divider that actually breaks up the style from the price. So I can show us how we can do that in our Wix blog. So style 1.6, back to our editor, and we will click paste. Excellent. And now we have this. And if we wanted to add a divider like we saw, you see this little icon here in the add button for the cell. This lets us add a divider to the cell. It'll be a horizontal divider as opposed to a vertical divider, but it serves the same purpose. So you can also choose what size of a divider you want, narrow, best fit, or full width. I'm going to go with narrow. If we click away, now we can enter some data underneath our divider, and this is where we can enter the price for the item. So again, we're just replicating the structure of our Excel spreadsheet in this table that we're creating on our Wix blog, just to give the viewer something interesting to look at to see our data displayed. So again, I'll go back to my Excel, make sure I copy and paste my price. And now, excellent. So then we would just continue to go down and fill out each cell with the appropriate data that belongs there. So I can fill out this first one for us so that we know what it's supposed to look like. So let's see here, making sure that we're following our line sheet. We now need to include a description. Then in the next cell are sizes, fabric, and colors. Okay, sounds good. So lovely. Now we need our fabric. All of our sizes are the same, so we can actually now just put this in each of the size cells. Just making our lives easier for data entry. Excellent. And then we want to fill out our colors here. Awesome. That looks great. And we have all the information we need from our assignment itself. If it's helpful, I'll do one more just so that we have a sense of, again, what the process looks like. So this one is 0017. Remember how we add our divider? Little blue button. Over here to our divider icon, we pick the size we like. And there we are. And now we can add the price for this item, which I believe is $44.99. All very reasonably priced items, I must say. $4.95. Okay, great. Now we need our description. Copy that and paste it. Great. What material is this? Okay, and now our colors. All right, everybody, so hopefully this gives you an idea, again, of how to construct a table that has the same amount of columns and rows as your own Excel spreadsheet line sheet, and then how to upload the media, the pictures from your line sheets into these individual cells within the table. And then again, very simply, it's just a matter of data entry, of making sure that you're entering the data from your line sheet into the appropriate cells in your table here, okay? Of course, there is a second part to your assignment here, which is the line list. So if we go back over to our sample assignment and go to this next one here, so you'll see it's similar data, just a couple of different categories, a few more columns and things than the other one, but no images. So it'll be a pretty simple process of, again, creating a table in the blog and making sure we enter all of this data, right? So let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns and 6 rows. So we're going to go ahead, go back to our add panel. We'll use this add button here. And again, we're creating a table. How many columns? We need 8. How many rows? We need 6. Go ahead and create the table. So you'll notice this one displays a little differently. Depending on which blog template you pick, this might display full width, but you'll see that it automatically populates with a little arrow so people can scroll over and see what your table and what all the data says, right? So for this one, we also need our little header from here so we can copy and paste the one that we have up here and place it here. Looks good to me. Now let's add in all of our categories from our sample table. So we have, if we check, let's go back and look at our example. So we have item, description, fabric, sizes, color pattern, cost target, ticket, IMU. Okay, so we just want to make sure that we have all of these in bold in our top row. So here we go. Actually, to make this a little easier for myself. Okay. Back we go. I want to make sure all of these are bold. So okay, so we've got all of our categories here. If we select over here, we can go ahead and bold everything. Looks good. If you want to resize so that the text fully fits, you just got to drag this here, this line. Okay, and now, just like we did in the last one, you can go about the process of data entry for your items. So we'll do one like we did above, just to illustrate the process here. So our item number is 0016, description, canvas, pocketed vest, fabric is canvas, sizes, extra small through extra, extra large, color and pattern. I'll do my copy paste for this. Looks good. Cost target is 18. Ticket price is $52.95. And my IMU is 66%. Excellent. All right, and now we have all of the data for that item in our line list. And so we can do it again really quick just to again illustrate the process. 0017, what is that? That is our short-sleeved button-up, fabric, linen/cotton, sizes. We can, again, if we wanted to make our life easier, just copy from this cell. Looks good. What are our colors? There we go. Cost target, looking at our Excel, is 17. Price, $44.95. And the IMU is 62%. Excellent. So again, just a matter of rinse and repeat, everybody, and entering the data into the table once you get the table constructed. So I think that this is a great way to present the line research. Again, the table adds a little more of a visual element, but if this is an option available to you, you could also just upload the line list as a file. It doesn't look as nice, but to do that, you would head over to your add panel and select to upload a file. So then I want to go to upload media. I'd upload from my computer. And if we go back out, There's our line sheet. We'll click open. Here it is, and if we add it to the page, it's just going to add a little link here that people can download it. Again, it doesn't look very nice and it doesn't tell a story as much as the tables do, but this is an option. So to now publish our blog post and make it go live, we want to do a couple things first. So if we go over here again to our left-hand panel, and if we look at the settings, we'll notice that the post has a little display cover image. We want to go ahead and change that because right now it's kind of this random image that isn't relevant to what we do. And so we also, if we didn't want to have a display image, we could just toggle it off. And so what that means is that it would show if we shared it on social media, but for now it's hidden. So we can also just decide to display it, and it's going to display our little image that we have here. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and publish this and see what it looks like. You'll also see that there's a lot of options here if you were going to add tags or do anything to make sure that your post could get easily found or shared across social media. You'd want to use the things that you see over here. For now, let's go over to publish. And here we have our brand research posted and ready to go. And if I want to see what this looks like on the site, I need to exit out of my blog area. And you'll see that now it's updated so you can see my post here. Why don't I go ahead and click save and preview, and we'll see what it looks like on the site. And here's my post. It looks really good. That's great. So now everybody can see my post, and of course everybody else's posts would appear here on this page just below my preview. And I'm really happy with that. So I think it looks great. And if we go back to the home page, again, just to test out our design, remember that we linked this button to our blog page. So if we click learn more now, isn't that great? We're taken to our blog post and we can read it and learn more about it, etc. Very happy with that. Looks great. Okay, so let's go back to the editor. And now we have one page left to construct here today, and that is our references page. So let's go ahead and navigate over to references. And the page is blank, of course, because we chose it to be that way. All we're adding to this page is text. So not a lot of work that needs to be done. We do probably want to adjust the page height because you guys working in a group of 5, you're going to have a lot of sources to post. So you just kind of need to make sure we have enough room here. Okay, from here now, let's go to our add panel. And we're going to add some text. And I think we'll be good with just paragraph text today. So if we wanted, we could resize this box. Now, you can go about adding your resources and text in, I guess, whichever way you want. I think it's easiest to import it all into this one big text box because then it's easier to format just, as an assembly line of formatting your sources. So when you're ready to go ahead and add your sources in, I think it's best to have a doc ready with all of them listed. Of course, as working as a group, you might need to go in and make sure that you are alphabetizing properly. So you might have to, enter your sources in between some other people's sources. So this is part of the collaborative process and will be part of your sort of final site check processes as you get done with the website and need to make sure everything's polished. So what I'm doing, everybody, is I'm copying and pasting a sample bibliography. And here it is. So if you scroll, you'll see it's all here in a list. It actually looks pretty good, which is great. So now what we can do is resize some of this. So if we select all of it, we might want it to be a little bigger. I mean, we do have a whole web page here. Why don't we try 18 and see what that does? I think that's good. You can change the color slightly if you want to something maybe a little darker. Looks great to me. Okay, now let's move it up. Like that. If you wanted, you could add a little bit of header text here. Why don't we go ahead and do that? So back to our text. I think a heading 3 works just fine here. And we'll say group references. You could also just say references if you wanted. Okay, lovely. Make this a little bigger. That's good. Add some space. Let's move this a little bit. Nice. Excellent. So this all looks pretty good. The only formatting at this point you need to do, of course, if you guys are familiar with APA format, is that this second line has to be indented. So it's kind of a weird process to do that, but you'll notice that if I just hit the, indent button, so I have one over here in my little text editor. If I just click this, looks good. So that's fine. Should be pretty smooth to do it that way. Sometimes, depending on, where your text has come from, you might have to hit like the enter button and then do this indent, but otherwise you just go through and format everything, making sure it looks like it's supposed to in APA format. And if you guys need help with your citations and, just getting things into APA, of course, your school libraries will have really great resources for any type of citation you want to do. I also always like to use the Purdue OWL site. So if let's see here, OWL, APA, you might think, what is that? It's the online writing lab at Purdue University, which contains tons of resources on how to cite pretty much anything according to any format. So if you go to this link here, you'll see that, oh, hey, look, Purdue Online Writing Lab, APA Style Introduction, and then it'll give you examples for everything you could possibly want to cite regardless of the media that you use, okay? So something that is a tried and true resource for citation. Just an FYI if you need a little help in that arena. Okay, well then you'd go through, we'll just make sure everything looks nice here. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is important for it to look appropriate. It's a kind of important part of the professional, scholarly aspects of your site. You want anybody looking at this to say, wow, this is a very well-researched and well put together. Oh, you see, so there we have a case where it got kind of funny. So what we need to do is click enter, and now we'll be able to indent it. I don't know why that happens, but it happens on all sorts of different word processors, so just FYI there. All right, well, we have our references. We've designed our research page with a blog post. That looks great, and that displays our line sheets very nicely. So now, and of course, we have our great home page. So on this home page, just to kind of close us out, I know that I said I would show you how to add galleries or slideshows to the site. So you'll remember we added a strip that has a great scroll effect, but say you wanted to add some more media in here. So I can show you how to do that very quickly. Let's say we're going to add it here underneath all of our data. From your add panel, head over to Gallery, and then you'll note that there's all sorts of different types of galleries and ways to present your images. So here's a showcase option. We have a slider gallery here for tons of images. Another slider gallery, which actually looks pretty good. And then some other, again, formats. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this gallery. And I need to add images and text to it. And actually, this hasn't formatted the way I want to. So let's delete this. And I realized what I did. We need to add a strip so that this gallery can live on the strip. So I'll add a blank strip. here, add some room to it. That looks pretty good to me. And now we can go ahead and add a gallery and attach it to our strip. So it has a designated home on our site. So I'll drag this over here. Okay, and now I can do a couple of different things. The first thing I want to do is I want to use this button to stretch this full width. Nice, and now it looks really good. If I wanted to add more margins to my images, I can use this little toggle, and then more space appears between my images, but I'll just leave it where it was. I like that look. Now I want to manage the media in here, which means I want to replace the stock images from Wix, which are in here, with my own images. So there's a lot of images in here. Let's see if I can quickly just delete. We'll select all of them. Silly me. And we can just delete all of them. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and add an image from our site files. Remember all of these amazing images that you've sourced and we want to use? So we can just go ahead and using Command, select all of the images we want to be in our gallery. So I have all of these here. I think I like this one as well. So I can add those to my gallery. So now I have, what, 6 images? That's pretty good. And if I wanted to add more, I could go to Wix, go to my images, and I can search for some media from Wix. So we can do, once again, fashion. Looks good. How about I choose, using my command button, I can choose a couple different things. I like that one. This one too is pretty good. And I'll do one more if I can find one I really like. I like this one. Okay, so I'll add these to my gallery as well. We'll go ahead and select done. And now we have this great slider gallery with all of these different images. If we save and then preview, looks great, and we'll see that we can then click and look at all these different images that we have. You could also rearrange them so they're a little more interspersed. But again, another option for adding visual interest to our awesome project websites. So we're in the home stretch here, everybody, with our project video. I want to show you some final things that you need to do when you go into the process of finalizing your site. So let's say that we are ready to publish. Right? We can go ahead and click publish, and that means that it is live and ready to live on the web. Before you do that, you will want to make sure that you've optimized your project website for mobile viewing. Because of course, we've been working on this on our desktop, but let's face it, most people find websites on their phones. So it makes more sense for you to make sure that your site is optimized for mobile viewing and mobile use. So if you click on this little toggle here, you'll notice that that Wix automatically makes a mobile site for you, and you can begin customizing it without changing how your site looks on your laptop. Okay, so we can go ahead and go through this little survey. It's going to ask us what we want to do with our header. Do we want it to scroll with the page, to disappear, to stay fixed or fade out? I think I'm going to say I want it to disappear. Do you want to have quick actions here, like be able to, do all these things? I'm going to say no. And then a back to top button. That I do want. It's a really useful thing for mobile, especially when you have long home pages on mobile, to be able to get back to the top. So you could now take a minute to watch this really helpful Wix tutorial on how to use the mobile editor. Let's just get into the mobile editor and take a look. So what you want to do is make sure that nothing is overlapping and that everything still looks the way it should. So for instance, this little menu here is kind of in an odd spot, so I'm going to move it to here. If I wanted to adjust my text, I could center it in my header. That looks nice. And now I'm pretty happy with this. My video background, is a little smaller, so if I wanted to change the size of everything here, I could easily do that. Then I like this. This is looking great to me. My image and then my overview, my nice little strip with media. My sales data actually displays quite nicely. And again, this is where you'd want to check how if you chose to do the Google Drive display option, you'd want to check what this looks like. And then we conclude with our team headshots and info, and that looks really good. This LinkedIn bar kind of moved, which is silly. So again, this is why you check. You want to make sure that we go up, and this was Dan's LinkedIn page. So we just want to make sure that it's in the right spot. There we go. That looks great. So then you can go ahead and save it. And now you would want to make sure that you went to each page to ensure that it looked the way it was supposed to. So there is my blog entry. All of our blog entries would then appear below this one. So that looks pretty good to me. And then we can go to our references. And so here you would have some work to do because of course you just kind of need to make sure that this looked okay and was all aligned properly. So you might have a bit of revision to do in here. But otherwise, I think that you just need to kind of go through each page and make sure that everything is displaying the way it should on a phone or a tablet in addition to on your desktop. Okay, so if we switch back to desktop, looks good. Finally, everybody, this is the last part of the video. I know that I mentioned that I would show you some strategies for keeping your site more private. So of course, as we know, when we publish a website, it lives on the internet. It is available to everybody. Some of us, of course, might want our sites to be relatively more private. So of course, you're being required to publish your websites for this project. But if you wanted to take the step to make your site just slightly more private, there's actually an option for you here in our dashboard. So let's go to our dashboard. All right, everyone. So to set up some privacy options for your published website from your dashboard, you want to navigate to this tab, which is Marketing and SEO, and then select SEO Tools. When you select this, you're going to scroll down and go to your general SEO settings. And now you have this option to show your site in search results. What this means is that when this is toggled on, search engines can index your site. Indexing is just a fancy way of saying your site would show up on Google if somebody searched specifically for it or for you. So to maintain a certain level of privacy for your site while also having it published still, just go ahead and turn it off. And again, it explains to you that this adds a no index tag to all your site pages. So that means you don't get traffic from search engines like Google. So we will elect to hide our site. Now, this is something to discuss as a group. Of course, part of the collaboration of building your website is deciding to what extent you want your work together to be public on the internet, okay? So just an option for you if you want things to be more private. Remember, SEO tools, general SEO settings, and toggle off the ability for search engines to index your site. Okay, everyone. Well, with that, I think that we have built a really successful website. Thank you so much for your attention and for this opportunity of inviting me into your classrooms to share this experience with you. If you have any questions, we here at Wix are always here to help. And there's also the Wix Help Center. I'll show you a couple of resources here really quick. So the Wix Help Center, which any question you might have, you can type into Wix and they will have hopefully an article to help you. If you also need some refresher on using Wix and using the editor and doing cool design stuff, you can use the Wix Learn resource. This is an online learning platform where they have a bunch of video courses that in really short little videos teach you how to build your website and do different design elements with the Wix editor. So another great resource there. All right, everybody. Well, I hope that at some point I get to see your final projects, and I hope the process of building these websites goes well. And thank you so much for your attention and for your time. Take care, everyone.